From CRI Simple Numbers, this is Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast, a podcast for those championing market growth and anchoring the nation's economy, small businesses and entrepreneurs.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Simple Numbers Profitability Playbook Podcast. I'm Mike Maxon, that's Brandon Gray, and we're joined by a special guest today, Karen Kopp of Kopp Consulting. And let me tell you a brief overview of her because I'm going to ask her about her business in a second to explain it. But I love the tagline. I was looking for this. I was like, how do I say about her company? And this is the best way to do it. They land meetings for you all using superior sales messaging and the right approach so you and your team have more opportunities to close. That's the best. You got chief door openers, which I do like that. I do like that phrase there. So that's cool. And you're the chief door opener of the.
I'm the chief door opener. I've had a lot of fun with that title over the years.
Good. Yeah, I like it. It is unique. I think one time, it might have been when we just did our master. You spoke, Karen spoke at our mastermind group. And I think the emails going by and I saw your title come through. It's like Karen Kopp, chief door opener. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty neat. So, but we appreciate you joining us today. And, we have some nice softball questions. I know when we were sending messages back and forth about what we're going to talk about, we try to make it easy and really just make this a nice conversation so the people out there can not only hear what you're about, but hear what great, information you have in the world of sales and everything going on. But first, just kick it off and tell us a little bit about your business and more in depth of what you all do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for having me. It's really good to be here. This is our 27th year in business. I cannot believe it's been that long. We get our clients in the door with their prospects for the first meeting. So this is the access to the executive level decision makers that people need to meet in order to start the business development process. And if you can't get in the door, you really can't do much of anything else in sales. So it's a really critical component. It's great for people to work on closing skills and and deal flow and all of that. But if you're not at the table in the beginning, you really don't get to do anything else. And it's one of the hardest parts of sales, bar none. Everybody tells me that. It takes a certain kind of seller who really loves this part of hunting. And we only hire senior level business developers to represent our clients professionally who use superior sales messaging. We'll probably talk a lot about that today, that gets these doors open. It's not easy to get somebody to answer a phone. And so you have to say the right things. You have to do the right things, or they're not going to want to talk to you. And so that's what we do. We do the right things. We set the program up properly. A lot of people have trouble with that. And we land the big meetings so our clients have more opportunities to close.
Yeah, that is awesome. I mean, so many people, I think when we talk to them and they're out there like, I just have trouble getting leads. And sometimes you want to just go straight to the marketing avenue of going, oh, my digital ads don't work or something like that. But here it comes down to maybe just that component right there. If I had no idea what to say to get someone to pick up our call or answer the email, right? I mean, I don't even know. I mean, that's why you exist. So that's awesome.
Well, that's why, and that's only one part of it too. I mean, people are really hope these days that AI is going to get the door open for them, or a bot is going to get the door open for them, or a bunch of email marketing is going to get the door open. But the truth is that those are marketing initiatives, and marketing is designed to create awareness. So that's a good thing, but it's not going to necessarily land you a conversation with the exact right person. That falls into the sales arena. So a lot of times people mistake trying to solve a sales problem with marketing, and then 6 months later wonder why they don't have the meetings they thought they should have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that leads me into my next question. And I think at any time we talk to a guest on here, one thing I love about the guests we have and about yourself is you all are out there in the business world, right? And I'm sure, I would imagine it's probably, is it companies of all size, all industries?
Yeah, so it's B2B. So as long as our clients are looking to get in with an executive level decision maker, anybody in the C-suite, SVP, VP, sometimes director level, depending on how big the organization is, but that's when they really need to come to us for this kind of help. This is not an SDR organization. Typically, SDRs are lower level sellers or sellers without as much experience
Sure.
in business development as our people have. And they may be right if you're looking to sell maybe a $1,200 software solution, or if you're trying to sell coffee to an office manager of a one or two office doctor's office kind of thing. But
Yeah.
if you're looking to get into Procter and Gamble or a tier 2 company, even mid-market companies, but it's at the executive level, you really need somebody who's more senior, who knows what to say and do, who can make a human to human connection with the other person that's of value to that person. That's when they show up to these meetings, and they don't show up otherwise.
Mhm. Yeah, excellent.
I like what you said about human
So
and
that
human
we're
connection. Because
Yeah.
the connection is one thing that our clients who are selling and doing well, every time it gets back to, we were setting up meetings, we were face to face, we were at conferences. You're really seeing an emergence of the importance of that.
Yes. And the people who are doing it properly are outpacing the people who don't. And the in person can be on Zoom. It can be these days. It's totally acceptable for that. But what's not acceptable is trying to replace a human interaction, even to get the meeting, with a non-human interaction. It's not a replacement for that.
Well said. And so here's my next question, and this is I think this is important because and where I was getting with that when I started was the where you're involved in all kinds of business. In our 100 company model, we talk about it a lot on this podcast. Uh, Clients below 10 million, we're seeing flat sales growth, a lot of flat sales growth. What are you seeing across the landscape? Are you seeing some of those same pain points? If so, why? I'd love to get your insight into the business world because you have a unique ability and obviously the most important thing going on, which is, hey, can I sell my stuff?
Yeah, and we're actually doing this for companies every day. And we're measuring, like Brandon knows, we measure everything around here. And probably at some point through our podcast, I'll throw out some of these statistics we have from a 1,200 meeting data set. But we're actually doing this work. So across industries, we're seeing what's happening here. And definitely within the last year, it has been more difficult than ever to access the decision makers. It used to be that people were just getting inbound leads. They might have more referrals. They were able to be more order takers.
Mhm.
And now the landscape has changed, and people who were selling into one market, that market may have dried up. They could be facing tariffs, not just for themselves, but for their clients could be facing tariffs. And while their business wasn't affected, their client's business was, and now it's rolling to them as well. There are people who are selling into the government who now have to sell in the commercial space, and they've never done that before. So they really don't know how to do this. So it really takes us back to the fundamentals of selling. Where is the right target? Who are the prospects out there who need to know you? Because the people who may not need you so much anymore. And now you have to go out there and find out who really needs you. And that requires a strategy reset. And it will also require a sales messaging reset, because what you said to the other prospects from before may be different than what you need to say to these prospects now. And so setting up the business development process, at least the beginning part, which is exactly what we do, we set it up properly. And then we have one of our senior level business developers land the meetings for our clients. We understand that the world of targets has to be looked at very differently. That ICP from before may be exactly what's killing your business development efforts now, because it can't be like that. You need somebody who is prospects who are feeling urgency for particular reasons. And that requires a different kind of research than people might have been doing before. And that research on the prospects and why they may feel urgency around having a meeting has to flow over into what you say to them in a phone call, in an email. But many people are not comfortable making a phone call, so they don't. And they will lose out to the people who are comfortable making those calls. What they say when they reach somebody live is critical. How do you engage that person in a conversation that would be meaningful to that person so that that person wants to have the meeting with you? That's a whole set of skills that a lot of people don't possess, but it's critical right now. So I have a lot of people who are saying to me, what worked before is not working now, and I don't know what to do about it. Right. But they have to approach it differently, and they just need some outside help from people who do this all the time.
You mean sending a text won't work?
Pick up the phone.
That is a first point.
Sliding into a DM, does that work in business?
Yeah, not as the first outreach anyway. But I'm not saying it's phone alone. I'm not saying phone alone. Phone with well done email, and well done, I mean personalized. And personalized has a very different meaning than it used to. A couple years ago, personalization just meant including somebody's name and their company name somewhere in that email. That falls far short of what's required these days from a personalization standpoint. Most sellers are not taking the time that is necessary to personalize the way personalization needs to be done. And what's worse than that is that many leaders are not allowing their sellers the time that it takes to do that. They want to see touch points. Well, if you want a lot of touch points, and they don't have time to do the personalization, you're going to have a lot of crappy touch points.
Right.
Agreed.
The game has changed.
And
We see a lot of that as we talk with clients as well, that, what they had been doing for years just all of a sudden stopped working. So makes sense.
Yeah. Especially if they had order takers as salespeople, but they were calling them salespeople. But if you really, really look at how they're getting their leads, how they're getting the clients, that they really fall into the category of order takers. Well, that's a certain kind of salesperson, but the kind of person who is not just comfortable going out there and initiating a conversation with someone they don't know that results in a meeting, but they actually like to do that work. That is a very rare salesperson, and not every hunter is an opener. Hunters are there are different kinds of hunters, and that's usually a blind spot for the business leaders. They don't realize that, so they hire the wrong hunter and then wonder, hey, why is this person not doing this?
So Karen, you say they're very rare. I think you gave a data point when we were up at EMP about the percentage of salespeople who actually fit that role. So share that with our listeners.
Yeah. So only about 4% of all hunters out there are openers. So within the world of hunters, there are different kinds of hunters. There are openers, those that are very comfortable and enjoy the job of opening a new relationship with someone, and they don't have to be at a trade show or a conference to do it. They're very comfortable picking up the phone. They like that part of the job. But the other kind of hunters, there's the closers. They are great at the first meeting through the close of the sale. They're good at nurturing their relationships. They like that part of the job. But typically, when a leader goes out to hire a hunter, they will typically look for somebody who's good at closing and not necessarily who got the doors open. And if they need doors open, which most people do these days, they need new doors open, and they don't have the right person in that seat. It's going to be really frustrating. That business leader is going to want to jump out the window, because very few things actually will get somebody who doesn't like to do this job to do this job. And the leaders out there who are listening, you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
So with the next question I wanted to touch base on is, challenges in the sales area. So when you engage, when a company calls you, and I know you talk to a lot of businesses, and I'm not asking you to, like, what are some of those common things? Like, I have an idea. I know across my clients that I work with, I'm sure Brandon does, but if right now a business called you up, what are like some of the most common things you see and challenges from the sales side as it relates to door opening and the overall sales process that you help with? I would love to hear it, because I'm sure right now there's business owners listening to this that are going to go, yeah, I struggle here, and it's probably pretty common. So I'd love to hear what you see on that side of things.
Yeah, it's typically around getting in the door, although sometimes what they'll say will focus on closing, like the deals are stuck in the
Yeah.
pipeline. The decision makers are not making decisions now. And part of the biggest reason why that's happening is because the people they were targeting are not the people who are feeling urgency. So it actually goes right back to a targeting issue.
Yeah.
Spend time with people who are more likely to make decisions for a certain reason. There is a group of prospects out there, everybody. I'll share this with you because there is hope, but there is a group of prospects out there for you who has to make decisions. You just may not be talking to them. So that's a targeting issue, and spending your time with people who are more likely to feel urgency for particular reasons, being able to get those conversations with them. So another thing they'll say to me is, what worked before is just not working now. And I don't understand what is working now. So we'll share with them what we see across industries, which is working, which we talked a little bit about that, with making sure you're focused on only the right prospects. In fact, for us, another one of these statistics that Brandon likes so much is that the percent of prospects that you're working that meet your newest definition of the right kind of prospect, which a lot of times people don't even have the newest definition of the right kind of prospect, that percentage should be 100%. We won't even load them into our CRM to start working on them on behalf of a client if they don't 100% meet these filters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
That's good.
we will also make sure that as close as we could get to right, their contact information has been verified, phone, email, cell phone, verified before a door opener ever touches that information. Because you don't want a senior level business developer spending his or her time looking up an email address because it was wrong, or doing all sorts of research for personalization only to find out that the phone number doesn't work. That workflow can be taken off the plate of the business developer and given to somebody else ahead of time. And most of the time it's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Excellent. And that I will tell you right now, I don't know how many times I have had a client tell me like the exact, hey, it's taken a while to close, or they're not closing as fast enough, or yeah, man, I have like 20 proposals out. We haven't heard anything back on 15 of them. I mean, just so common there.
Yeah, well, and some of that too, I mean, I would say that's primarily a targeting issue these days because that's changed, as I said. But also, I find a big gully after the proposal is given to the nurturing process, which is so critical. People will lob over a proposal and want the customer to do the rest. Well, guess what? You're not done once that proposal goes over. There could be other influencers involved in that decision. Have you met with them too?
Mhm.
When's the last time you contacted the decision maker? And always, in every step of the sales process, a best practice that we tell everybody is to get a date and time for the next step in the sales process. So if you're talking to somebody about a proposal, then you want to show that person the proposal live. That's really the best way to do it. If they say, no, you have to give it to me first, then you say, let's put 15 minutes on the calendar after you've reviewed it so I can answer any questions. And what does that do? It keeps the process moving to have the dates on the calendar. But it's very simple. I say date and time, right? It's the easiest way to shorten your sales cycle.
And that was going to be what my next question is. And that was great that you said that. What are some of those best practices? I mean, and I'm not saying that you have to you're giving away all of it here, but what are some of those just little things a business owner can do and his team can do to just like that right there, like getting a date and time for the next meeting, right? Like makes sense. I mean, what are some of those little things that, like Brandon and I talk about little things in the finance process all the time, like collections, like stuff you should do, but what are those little things that are good for people to know?
Yeah, well, how much time do you have? I guess
Yeah. Yeah,
I
give a
could
few.
go.
Give a few, right?
Yeah, off the top of my head. Well, here's another one of these sales effectiveness metrics that we are monitoring. It's part of our CRM, which is highly customized, so we can report on a lot of things that most people don't report on. But aside from the number of meetings, and of course, every meeting is with the right level decision maker from an approved company who's interested in learning more. That is the definition of a good meeting. But we're not only tracking that number, we're tracking the percent of first meetings that go to second meetings.
Mhm.
And that number, that percentage should be 99.9% of first
Wow.
meetings should go to second meetings, because
Wow.
there's research and qualifying that can be done prior to making a decision to spend any of your time on a prospect. So if you're having a low number, like one of our prospects at one point, I asked her that question, what percent of your first meetings go to second meetings? First of all, she didn't know. So she had to go
Mm.
back and see if she could start measuring that. And then when she came back to me, it was 37%. So I said, okay, well, that's interesting, because there's 3 reasons why a first meeting wouldn't go to a second meeting. The first one is that it was never the right prospect to begin with. So that has to do with list hygiene. The second one is that there wasn't enough value built by the seller in the meeting so that the prospect wanted a second meeting. And then the third reason, which is usually the biggest offender, is that the seller didn't ask for the second meeting. When you close up at the end of the meetings for next steps and get a date and time, you say, okay, here's what we agreed we would do, and as a next step. And so let's take a look at the calendar and put some time on the calendar to review our next steps. How's next week for you? Thursday at 10? And there it goes, right on the calendar. The easiest way to shorten your sales cycle, but most people don't do that. So I would suggest to the leaders out there, start measuring that. What percent of your first meetings are going to second meetings? And if it's a low number, what is the diagnostic on that? Do you need to fix the list? Do you need to improve the conversation, ask better questions? Or do you just need to ask? Like when we do meetings with our clients, we do a warm handoff. So we land the meeting for our client, and then the door opener, this is a senior level business developer who's representing our client as if they were a member of the client's team. That person is on the meeting with our client and the prospect to do a warm handoff. But what our person is there for also is that if our client doesn't ask for the next meeting, the door opener is going to jump in there and get it.
Mhm.
So that part is moving along. I would say discipline is the next thing that is really important from a tip perspective. As leaders out there, keep reviewing with your sellers what deals they're working on, what prospects they're currently working on to try to get the meetings. And if you have a lower number than 99.9% of them that fit the bill for what you want them to be going after right now, fix that, because there's only so much time in the week. And if the sellers are busy spending time on prospects and getting you meetings that you're not going to value, then that is it. It's easy to solve, but it requires discipline.
What do you recommend? And I tell my clients this, and I mean, I say monthly, and then maybe a check-in document, but what is like the frequency of a sales meeting? And the reason I ask is because I find it fascinating that, and not all the time, but in a lot of cases, like, because sales can be good, and then like what you talked about, all of a sudden it's not working. And then they're like scrambling to figure this stuff out. And, we talk about daily huddles. We talk about, we clients do monthly finance meetings with us. What about the sales meeting? What is an important rhythm for business owners to re-examine consistently, everything from pipeline to these things you're talking about?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think it depends on how much time is being spent weekly on business development. I'm on the faculty for certain entrepreneurs, organizations, and the classes that they teach, like Brandon is too. And I ask a couple of questions. One is, what is the size of a deal and the lifetime value of a client? So they may tell me a lifetime value of a client is like $1 million, something like that.
Mhm.
And I'll also ask, how much time weekly are you spending, you or your salespeople spending on an active pursuit of new prospects? And that number is like 2 hours. So the big question is, if you can have $1 million new client And we know sales solves pretty much all problems in business.
Yeah.
Why are you only spending 2 hours on this? Like, why is that? That just doesn't make any sense to me. So it's really important when you're looking at the cadence of these meetings. If you're only spending 2 hours in business development, well, first of all, you may want to fix that, but you probably only need a meeting once a month. If you're spending 40 hours a week and you have 3 sellers, you're probably going to want to review weekly or biweekly what's happening. If you want more meetings, then you're going to want to focus on that aspect of the pipeline. A lot of times people will say to me, we want more meetings, but then in their reviews with their salespeople, they're only focused on closed deals. So if you're focused on closed deals, especially, that's what they want to focus on because that's where the commission is. And it comes at the expense of who's keeping the top of the funnel full from a sales perspective. And that's one of the reasons why we exist. Because if the sales team is doing a good job, they're going to need to spend their time closing sales. Who's getting the new opportunities that are exactly right? And so if you have a door opening company doing that for you, and can't be SDRs if it's a executive level decision maker, you have them feeding you the right meetings with the right people, and then your salespeople can focus on closing more sales. The whole engine goes faster.
Nice. Yeah, I tell my clients all the time, because my first thing I ask every client in every one of our calls is, give me a sales update. Where you at? What's going on with it? And some can give a very detailed one. Some blab off all kinds of stuff, and you're like, wow, that's really, like, you're in it. Others sort of know, and they just know, like you said, maybe on deals closed. That's obviously the most popular one. But I always tell them, like, look, you grab a bunch of sales, I can help you fix everything after that. Like, everything after that, we can help you get right. But I cannot fix the top one. Like, that's the one thing I can't do. So that's why people like Karen and her company exist. So that's what I want to hear. Brandon, I've been hogging her. So what do you got for Karen?
Yeah, so I would say, in terms of, I like the data, obviously, and so they have some really great data around when you should have a meeting with someone, when you should be reaching out. So it's not just kind of, we feel that this should be the way it goes, or this is the way. They actually track things and look at effectiveness and have the data points around it. So it's as much a science as it is an art. So which I really think is great as far as that part goes. So Karen, tell the listeners how they can get in touch with you. If they got questions about anything we've talked about, or learn more about your company.
Okay, well, they can get in touch with me by going to our site, which is koppconsultingusa.com, KOPP consultingusa.com. We're also, people know us as the door opener. So you're going to see the door opener service on the site. Check that out. I give a lot of tips and advice for people who want to try to fix this themselves, but there is an outsourcing opportunity for you to have somebody senior set this program up properly, right target, right message, right answers for objections, the right person doing the work, and then the right execution. So you have the right people doing the right things right as far as getting access to these new opportunities. And please reach out. I'm happy to help you answer any questions you have. Brandon, you had wanted some of those, the data from the 1,200 meeting data set before we exit. Do you want me to share that with everybody?
Yeah, give a few of the best findings from it.
Okay. So this is a 1,200 meeting data set, and what did it take to get these meetings? So 91% of the booked meetings occurred. And of course, all the meetings are with the right level decision maker from an approved company. And those people were interested in learning more. Usually when I ask people what percent of your meetings happen, they're usually in the 30%. And sometimes when they happen, they're with the wrong people. So that's a big waste of time. So 91% of book meetings occurred. Average touch points to a meeting, 7.3. So if people are giving up after the third touch point, It's just the beginning. You got to keep going, and you can't say the same thing more than once. So you better be building on the research you've done on a prospect in order to reach them. This is a crowd pleaser. The best time to reach executive level prospects from our data set. Most people would think it's Monday, first thing in the morning. It's actually Tuesday from 12 to 2. And the runner up was Wednesday from 2 to 4. And I believe what's happening is they're piling up their meetings in the morning, and then they have a little break in the afternoon. So they're answering their phones. Last activity to a meeting. So even though we're using phone and email and well done LinkedIn, all of these things together, what was the last activity before a meeting was booked? 50% of the time it was a call. So for people who are not calling, you're going to be missing out to your competitors who do call. You may warm up a prospect and lay the foundation for your competitor to come in and eat your lunch. I can go on and on, but that's just a few of the metrics that we really have.
Great info. Like I said, there's plenty more of that. And so really like the approach of having the data to drive, the decisions and the effectiveness behind them. So good stuff.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining us today.
Yeah, this is
like
great.
Said, like Karen said, copconsultingusa.com. Go check her out. Go check her company out if you need help getting some doors open. So I'll sign us off here for Brandon and Karen. I'm Mike, and we appreciate you joining us.
If you want to know more about driving sustainable profitability for your business or are interested in learning more about CRI Simple Numbers, please visit our website at simplenumberscri.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of Profitability Playbook, the Simple Numbers Podcast. You can subscribe to Profitability Playbook on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review. This podcast is brought to you by CRI Simple Numbers LLC, a division of CRI Capital Group LLC, and a subsidiary of CRI Advisors LLC. CRI is the trusted brand under which Carr, Riggs & Ingram LLC, the CPA firm, and CRI Advisors LLC, along with its subsidiaries, deliver professional services. Please note, Carr, Riggs & Ingram LLC is a licensed independent CPA firm offering attest services, whereas CRI Advisors LLC and its subsidiaries specialize in providing tax and business consulting services. These entities operate within an alternative practice structure as defined by the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct and comply fully with applicable laws, regulations, and professional standards. Ready to simplify your business finances and drive growth? Explore valuable resources, books, and tools designed for entrepreneurs and small businesses at simplenumberscri.com.